poppin', everybody? It's your boy Mike Gomes. Welcome back to the channel. Listen, before we get into it, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, and more importantly, tomorrow, Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, I'm doing a live Zoom, breaking down a couple things, breaking down how we get somebody their first deal, breaking down a couple of leads, breaking down just a general Q&A. It's going to be dope. You're going to want to get in there. So go to joinblueprintrei.com if you have not already signed up for the free Facebook group. We're going to be hosting the live out of the free Facebook group. So I'm going to see y'all on Facebook. Now, for this video, what we're going to go over is the perfect seller walkthrough. Like, I use this layout on every single one of my on-site seller appointments. It's freaking killer. It's made me like hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's freaking bananas. So let's get into it and let's figure out how we make these on-site appointments absolutely killer. Let's get into it. 132 North Pearl Street in Brockton, Massachusetts. This was a wholesale deal for us. So what that means is we went out to the seller, we got them under contract, and then we took that contract and we shopped that contract out and we said, hey, all you buyers in the area, all you fix and flippers, all you buy and hold investors, would you want to buy this contract from us? Somebody said yes. They bought the contract from us and they bought the house. Okay, so we never went on deed. We never had to come up with any money or anything like that. So you can, when people say that you can't get into real estate unless you have money, it's false. If you have $0, you can make 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 as long as you got some hustle. So here's what happened. We went out to my guy, Dennis. My guy, Dennis, got in our system through a cold call. So my virtual assistant cold called Dennis, and Dennis said, hey, yeah, I'd be willing to sell my property, but not for probably another like 6 months. So he stayed in our follow-up. My lead manager, who follows up with all the leads in our system, kept following up, following up, following up. Finally, he was ready to sell his property. Then it went to my acquisition manager, and my acquisition manager was bringing him through our sales process and actually thought that we were going to get this property under contract under a novation agreement. And if you don't know what a novation agreement is, you can go back to my channel. I've talked about novations a bunch of times. Just type in Mike Gomes novation, it'll pop up. But we thought that we were going to do a novation agreement where we get the property up to speed for the seller and then put it on the market. Okay. Then my acquisition manager puts me on the appointment. So I go on an on-site appointment before we sign any contract with the novation agreement. I'm like, hey, let me go check this property out. Let me go see the repairs and everything like that. So I go on the appointment. This is after like 6 months of my team following up, by the way. So follow-up is what gets you the deals. The fortune is in the follow-ups. I know it sounds cliche, but it really is what gets you all the deals. Like, all of our deals come from like 17 touches or more. Like, it's a lot of times that we're calling these people. So I go on the appointment and I meet Dennis there. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk you guys through. I'm going to need you guys to take notes for the rest of what I'm about to tell y'all. This is the perfect walkthrough. And I'm going to go through this because this walkthrough, like the walkthrough setup that I'm about to give you, has made me tens, if not probably hundreds of thousands of dollars for this seller appointment walkthrough. So that's what this is all about. I'm gonna give you guys the sauce. Are you guys ready for that or what? All right. So here's what happens. I go to the property. I meet Dennis immediately. By the way, I'm giving you guys what I do on every single one of my appointments, but I'm going to show you how it worked out in this particular situation. So I meet Dennis when I first get up to the property. First off, I always give a call like 15 minutes ahead of time before I go there, just to confirm that he's ready for the appointment. He's ready that I'm going to be there, right? By the way, if he calls me and the property's like sort of close to my office or something, I'm not going to waste time. Like, it's not going to be a complete waste of time me going there. If he calls me within like 30 minutes or something, I typically won't answer because I know that means that he is trying to cancel. And usually what I'll do is I'll just go to the property instead, and I'll be like, oh, sorry, I didn't even get your call. But now that I'm here, let's just go over it. So that's another little thing that you all should write down. But anyways, so I go to the property and I meet Dennis, and I don't even walk inside of the property. Okay. So when I immediately get to an on-site appointment, I never even walk inside the property, probably for the first like 15 minutes. So for the first 15 minutes, I won't even walk inside the property. I'll just get caught up to speed on what the situation is. And I build some rapport, I bond with the seller, I figure out the whole entire situation of what's going on with the house, even before I walk inside the property. So I immediately establish why I'm here. I'm here to solve a problem. I'm here to figure out your situation. I'm here to see if we can get a deal done. So I do that from the beginning before I even walk inside of it. Okay. And then the reason for me walking inside of it is to check out the condition, right? I have my iPad with me right here. I take dope pictures on my iPad, right? It's very big. It's really dope. If you guys are going on on-site appointments, I recommend you getting an iPad. So what I'll do is with the seller, I'll walk the property, okay? And I'm taking pictures. I'm not really like saying crazy things like, "Oh wow, this place is a disaster." I'm not like making them feel bad about the situation, but I am hinting at things, right? I'm saying little subtle things during the appointment as I'm taking pictures, or I'll get really close to like the hole in the wall, or really close to the heating system that is super super outdated that I know, and I'll maybe be like, yeah, we're probably gonna have to replace that. And I just kind of let them know as I'm walking the property that this property is going to need some love. Okay. So as I'm doing that, I'm also still bonding with the seller, talking with them, this, that, and the other, but I'm going in every single room and I'm taking pictures everywhere. Okay. Then once I finish, I let the seller know, hey, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to my car. Okay. I'm going to go back to my car and I'm going to go talk to my lender or talk to my business partner or talk to my wife or whatever it is, right? I let them know that I'm going to talk to a third party who is essentially the decision maker. That way, I'm not the bad person when it comes to the offer. Okay. So, by the way, I missed a step. Before I do all this, I let the seller know what to expect on the appointment. Like immediately in that first 15 minutes, I let them know, hey, here's what's going to happen. And I lay out the whole entire process of the appointment. Okay. So when I let them know I'm going to the car, I'm telling them I'm going to crunch the numbers and I'm going to get you an offer on the spot here. And I set some upfront contracts. I'm like, hey, if we can come up to your number or we're close, or if we can come to an agreement today, are you ready to get this thing done today? Because when I get on the phone with my lender, I got to let him know. Reason that I got to let him know is because we're doing multiple deals a week and we only have a certain amount of funds to buy a certain amount of houses. So like we're ready to buy your house, but it's just something that I got to let him know because if not, he's just going to release the funds to another property, and I don't want that to happen. So is this something that you're looking to move forward with like now? And they're like, yeah, I'm ready to get it done. Okay. Now here's the sauce. By the way, I told you guys that this was going to be a novation agreement. After walking the property and everything like that, you'll see where I'm about to go next with this, why we did not do a novation agreement. So I went back to the car. By the way, when I went back to the car, I already knew that the property just wasn't really good for a novation. It needed way too much work. I didn't want to do the novation. I'm like, we're just better off. The number's kind of close for a cash deal. Let's just do a cash deal on this thing. So we ended up doing a cash deal. But here's what happens: I go back, talk to my lender, okay, and then I walk back in the property, and I go to the place that I go to the room that is the most messiest in the house, okay. And for this particular deal, it was the kitchen. There was beer cans everywhere. There was, the ceiling. There was holes in the ceiling. The cabinets were ripped down. Like it was probably the worst room in the house. And I do that to kind of set the tone. And I'm like, hey, listen, like I got a lot on my hands here to work with as far as repairs. So I set the tone by going in that room. So I let him know, again, before I walk back in the property after talking to my lender, I say, hey, you know, can we go check out the kitchen? I got to check something else out, just to verify something really quick. And maybe I'll look under the sink or whatever, right? For this thing, that's what I did. I looked under the sink. Okay. So I go back in there and then I actually have a slideshow that I present to the sellers. It's very quick. If you want access to that slideshow, um, go to joinblueprintrei.com and ask in the Facebook group. You'll get access to the Facebook group. Ask in that Facebook group for me to release the slides, and I will release the slides because they're actually pretty killer. But I bring them through a quick slideshow of like what the company is about and what we're about to offer and all these things. Okay. And then I get ready for the offer. So for Dennis, when I gave him the offer, I let him know, I said, Dennis, man, After talking to my lender, this property just won't be approved for our partnership program. It just needs too much work. We were under the impression that it needed maybe $30,000 worth of renovations before we got here when we were talking to you on the phone. But when I get here, it's like 70K, man. It's gonna be a lot. So it's not gonna be a good fit for our partnership program. He's like, damn, all right. And then I let him know. With that being said, man, I honestly think your best case scenario, if you want to just get this thing off your hands, is just selling it to a cash buyer, whether it's me or whether it's somebody else. And he's like, yeah, that's what I want to do. I just want to get rid of this thing. And I'm like, okay, we can buy your house for $260,000. And then I just shut up. I just don't say a word. Okay. Now, what happens here? Some negotiations start to happen. By the way, I shut up because that is what makes you a closer. The silence is what makes you a closer. A lot of people get nervous and they're like, oh my God, what is he going to say? What is he going to say? Just be quiet and let it rock. Just shut up after you give the offer and see what happens. He came back and he's like, man, I don't think that's going to be enough for me and my wife. Okay. So I'm like, all right, well, I don't think we're going to be able to budge on this thing. Where do you guys have to be? And he countered offered at 265. So I'm never right. You're gonna want to write this down too. I'm never live negotiating, meaning like, well, can we meet in the middle at this? I'm like, no. I got to go back to the third party because I'm not the bad guy. I'm not the one. I'm not the decision maker. Okay. So I go back to the third party and just say, hey man, I'm sorry, we're buying a couple other deals this week and there's nothing we can do. We're at 260. Because that's really where our offer had to be. So he ended up just saying, hey, let's just do it. Let's just get this thing on paper. Bada bing, bada boom. We got the contract signed and assigned the deal. For this particular deal, we got it under contract for 260 and we assigned it to a buyer at 296. So that's a $36,000 assignment fee. For what? For some follow-ups, for me going on the appointment, right? It's work, okay? It's work to do these deals, but we didn't spend too much money to get that deal, right? Like you could have done that deal for free. You could have door knocked on this guy's house and kept him in a follow up in your freaking notepad, and you could have got the deal. So you literally can do these things without any money out of your pocket. $36,000. That's how much me and my partner made. It's a lot. That honestly is a lot. So if you guys want to learn more about these on-site appointments, feel free to shoot me a DM. But we do these deals, multiple of these deals a month, and they're not hard. They're not. Here's what I'm gonna say. These wholesale deals are simple, but they are not easy because it takes grit and grind. Look, we followed up with this person for 6 months. Most people would have talked to him. He would have said, "Oh no, yeah, I'm not ready to sell for the next 6 months," and it would have fell in the cracks. Okay, we just make sure that we extract every single lead as much as possible, and that's how we get deals. The perfect on-site appointment, everybody. If you guys want access to that slideshow that I was talking about in this video, go to joinblueprintrei.com, sign up for the free Facebook group, and ask in the free Facebook group for me to drop the link to the slideshow. I'm going to catch y'all on Facebook. Peace out.